Hey everyone, welcome to our 8A series. 8A Certification Federal Buyers Training. Step 1, due diligence. Do your buyer homework. Okay, you have to do your homework before you can get the real answers. So this is teaching you how to do your due diligence, your intelligence, doing your research. This is your very first step. And generally speaking, this is for folks that are already in the 8A program, but if you're planning to get in the 8A program and you've already submitted your application, you really should do this step and do this homework before you get into the program, because this will help you to understand where the buyers are. Folks get into the program and no one helps them to understand that there is some homework, some research, some due diligence that must be done before they get into the program, because you need to hit the ground running as soon as you get into the program. As you know, I'm Michelle Brown, over Federal Certifications and Training Programs for FedBiz Now and FedBiz Exchange. In this video, I will teach you how to do your research and how to locate federal buyers in your industry. Okay, this is just the beginning, but again, I've broken this down. I want you to do this step by step because it is a lot. I know it is. I teach this stuff and I know it can be overwhelming. Sometimes when things are overwhelming, you tune it out. So let's go step by step, and then it'll be broken down into videos so that you can watch it anytime you're ready. You want to take a day and, put it aside to get this stuff done. That's the best way to do it. That's the way I do some of my best work. So here we go. The key is your codes, your NAICS codes and your PSC codes. The key is the codes. So you have to make sure you're using the right code. These codes are everything. They're the beginning. So we're talking about your NAICS codes, which are NAICE codes, and your PSC codes. So NAICE codes, you guys know what those are. That's the higher level. But PSC codes, those are the codes, they're called product service codes. PSC stands for product service codes. Those are the codes that really help you to identify what you do. That's the description of what you do. You could be using an NAICS code, then you run a report using the NAICS code because the system says that's the right code to use, and then you look at the PSC codes and they describe what you're supposed to do or what that product or service is, and you read that description and you say, that's not what I do. The PSC code doesn't identify what you do properly, neither does the description, because in our reports, for research, you get a column with award description, which is really, really good. Then you get a column with the PSC code description. So you'll find out what I mean, but just understand how important that is. And then most of you think you're using the right codes already based on what you were told. You weren't told the wrong thing. They just didn't tell you the other side of the rule, that the federal contracting officers and the people that do the buying, the federal buyers, they're just not using and following the same rules that you are. They can choose their own codes, and they may not think that they need to use the same codes that you do, whether it's NAICS or even if you do know about PSC codes already. Doesn't mean they're using the same one, but most of the time people can get on the same page with the PSC codes, most of the time. But the key and the point is you must do and use the codes that your buyers are using, period. So most of you never even consider your PSC codes. Make PSC codes a part of your life. Once you learn what they are with this research, go back into SAM and update your SAM, because trust me, if a federal buyer is looking for someone that has the right codes, and when I say right, I mean your codes could be right to you and to me, and to the system, but if the buyer is not using those codes, they don't matter. So you don't have to take out your old codes. You can leave those in, but you need to put in the codes that your buyer is using. The buyers that you discover in your research, no matter what agency it is, you change it to the same codes that they're using. Same thing with NAICS codes, NACE codes as some of you call them. Change it to whatever they're using. And I shouldn't say change it, I'll say update, add. PSC codes, most of you don't have those in. And if you do, you don't even understand how to use them. They're very, very valuable. And then the PSC codes really do accurately describe your product or service. And if you see a PSC code and it doesn't look like it describes your product or service, then that's not the code that the buyers are likely to be using. Or it could be the opposite. What if the buyer is just using something completely wrong? You use something completely wrong because it's what he's using. He's buying what you're selling. So use the codes that he or she is using. And then regardless, you must use what the federal buyers are using. I know I sound like I'm beating a dead horse, but that's just the way it is. We don't need to fight that battle. It's not even worth it. We'd have to fight every agency about that. So let's do what they do. And I guarantee you this, your competitors are doing what they do. That's how come your competitors are winning. You have to know where the opportunities are. You will not get anywhere if you don't know where the opportunities are. Step 1, run your spending reports. So in this step, you will go to usaspending.gov and click on Advanced Data Search to start running your report. I'm going to walk through all of this with you, but you know how I am. I'm very detailed, so I just want to walk you through what we're going to do. So you're going to use your NAICS codes or NACE codes and your PSC codes. You're also going to use your keyword descriptions if you need to. Now, you're not going to do all three at the same time. You're going to do one report at a time. One NACE codes per report. Now, could you put all of that in the same report together? Yes, but you will not get accurate results. You need to know what's working. So you're making it easier when you do one at a time. You're not going to run a report for PSC codes yet because you don't know what they are. Once you learn what the PSC codes are, you may or may not need to run a report on PSC codes. Maybe your NAICS codes will give you everything. But if your NAICS codes are not identifying the best opportunities for you, then you need to run the PSC codes. And if that doesn't work, then you run keyword descriptions. And your PSC codes and your keyword descriptions will be based on a lot of your research, but you have to start somewhere. Sometimes you start with a small amount of information and you get bits and pieces and then you start getting a lot. You'll see what I mean. And then you run your first report using your primary NACE codes or your NAICS code. Your primary NAICS code that you use in SAM. Start there. Then you can run the other ones. So you're going to have 3, 4, 5 different reports. Now, does that sound like a lot? Yes, but you don't have to do this all the time. You just need to find out where you're supposed to be. And if you ever want to add another service or another product, you just run reports on that service or that product. But what's important is that you need to determine that you're using the right codes. And then you run individual reports for each NAICS code, and then you write down the PSC codes that are in the reports. So when you run a report, you're going to see everything in that report. And it's just wonderful because it's very enlightening. It tells you where you need to be, whose space you need to get in. Do you need to be in the space where the Department of Energy is, in a specific department? You can learn these things after you do your research. That's what it's for. You don't want to chase things that are non-existent. You want to be in the right space. Then you use your report by cleaning it up, and then and I give you instructions for that, and then you review and analyze. Okay, so this is the report we're going to run. I have everything on the slide so I can walk you through what it looks like. This is how we start off doing our research. So the first things we're going to look for is when we go to usaspending.gov, we're going to look to the left and we're going to choose the types of search criteria under the advanced search key. So we clicked on advanced search and we got all of these different categories. I suggest that you use or that you choose down here at the bottom where it says type of set aside. There's a blue arrow down there. You're going to choose small business set asides and small disadvantaged businesses, which would be SDB. And the reason you want to do that, you want to choose total small business because you need to stay in the total small business arena. Your competition is small in that arena. You don't have to deal with these big guys, and it helps you to win. It's a lot easier to win, and it helps you to win faster. Because a lot of small businesses, even though there may be a lot out there that do what you do, they don't bid, they don't do the things that they should do because it is difficult and challenging to understand step by step what to do. Even I have to remember, I can't take for granted that you guys are getting this. So I'll repeat myself a lot to help things to start sinking in. That's just the way trainers do. Okay? And then your research will show that your competition is very minimal, just like I said, but you have to do the research. And then when you do the research, you can see how many people bid on a specific opportunity. They only chose one or choose one, but it's interesting to see that only 2 people bid on something. It's unbelievable sometimes. And you could be one of those 2 people. So you need to stay on top of it. But if you were in full and open competition, like dealing with the big guys, oh, you'd be competing with 100 people, 200, maybe even 1,000. But with small business, it's a winner. And especially if you're a small business and you're a veteran. You're a small business and you have a GSA schedule. You're a small business, you have a GSA schedule, and you're a veteran and you have an 8A. You have a lot of opportunities because of that. You can be in all of these different spaces and be very valuable to a buyer because they have to meet their goals. Remember, that's what set aside goals are. They're goals for each of those categories. Women, minorities, total small business, and you can be just a small business, period, have your GSA, and that will help you win, period. When you compete under full and open, I just kind of explained that. It's just too much. Unless you have a very unique niche, you don't ever want to compete under full and open competition. You'll be competing with thousands and hundreds of other firms or small or other businesses. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you see up here to the left at the top, in case you can't see my arrow, you could put in a keyword if you need to, but start out with your NAICS codes. Just start out with that, your primary code, and see how it does. If you don't get anything, that's when you use a keyword. Then you're going to choose the time period, which most of the time you should do at least 2 to 3. I'm talking 2018, 2017, maybe even 2016. Then you need to look at the award type. You're only going to look at contracts. If you ever want to look at grants, you can always come back and look at grants. Don't do both of them together. Just focus on one thing at a time. Then you're going to put in your NAICS code, the primary one that you use in SAM. It would be 6 digits, and you're going to put, here's an example right in here. It's a little light, but 336411, and then there's a search tool that comes up. You hit search, and then it becomes part of the request for the report. PSC code, you're not going to put that in because you don't know what they are. If you do know what they are, run a separate report. Don't run these together. Okay, and then down here, I mentioned this, but here are the types of set-asides. If you want to choose for all 8As, because you're looking for 8A information, that's fine. 8As with GSA schedules, that's fine, but that's not what you're doing. You're looking for regular, total small business and small disadvantaged businesses, and it would be under type of set-aside. Okay, now you're going to come down to the bottom of types of set-asides, and you're going to click on where the blue arrow is, SDB, Small Disadvantaged Business Set-Aside. 8A is part of small disadvantaged businesses. So you want to get a profile for your buyers under 8A with using your NAICS codes, but you also want to get a bigger picture for buyers under small business set-asides dash total. So you see these two blue arrows at the bottom. You need to check each one of those boxes. This will give you an overview of what you should be looking for as an 8A firm. So your situation is in two parts. You're going to look at the 8A opportunities that are in your industry under your codes, your descriptions. You want to make sure that you're seeing some 8A opportunities in under your NAICS codes, I should say. But you also want to remember what I said in training. And what I said in training was that as an 8A, once you graduate, you still want to be able to get contracts. You will not be able to get contracts if you were solely dependent upon your BOS or the district office setting aside 8A contracts for you. You need to learn how to perform in the market, in the federal contracting market. So you want to look at all types of opportunities for small businesses. So if you're a veteran and an 8A, you want to look at veteran opportunities. If you are a WOSB and an 8A, you want to look at WOSB opportunities and 8A. And the reason you need to do that is because the government is not going to stop buying things. They're going to continue to buy and buy and buy well after you get out of 8A. So if you like making millions, you need to learn how to perform in the federal market. It should be part of your business model, part of your portfolio. So you should be looking at every type of small business opportunity that is under your NAICS code when you're running these reports. Okay, so if you don't know what I mean, go back, check your NAICS codes, check contracts, and then come here to type of set aside. That's all you're going to put in. We're keeping this very simple because we need to make sure that you're doing enough homework to find enough history about your buyers in different arenas. And if you watch some of my other videos under 8A, I've also broken down for you as an 8A firm the different agencies, and there are hundreds of them, that are already doing business with 8A firms all across the country. So I talked to you about that in some of my videos. If you don't know which ones I'm talking about, just go to the playlist under 8A certification, accelerate with your 8A certification. And there are a lot of little videos underneath that one, but I talk about the agencies that are already working with 8A firms. Okay, so you're going to check these two boxes down here under type of set aside. Remember, you're looking for all types of opportunities under the total small business set aside, not just under small disadvantaged business and 8A. You want to see everything. You need the big picture. And all of the buyers that you find, all the agencies that you learn are already working with small businesses. Those are the agencies that you should document because those are the agencies you're going to follow and pursue and bid on their opportunities. And then all you're going to do after you choose that is hit the search button and you will get a report that looks like this. Okay, so this was 2018, 2017 total small business, the number of contracts for those years, and it is total small business set aside. Looks like there were 467,000 so far. This is the report you're looking at. Now for you, you put in your NAICS code, so your report is going to be much smaller than mine. Then, once we've asked for the report, then we are going to click the download button right here. This will pop up. You're going to click award, and then you're going to choose everything because you want to see everything. Not too much detail, but you're going to choose everything. After you choose everything, it'll show you how the report is starting to download. Look at this yellow arrow on the screen. You'll see a message right there, but over to the left down at the bottom, maybe on your computer, it could be down at the bottom on the right, but it'll start to download your report. And it'll take a few minutes. It depends on how big it is. Now I run large reports, so my reports take maybe a couple of minutes. Yours may take 60 seconds or less, but just pay attention. It'll tell you when the report is ready. Once it's done running, you'll get this box right here with the zip folder, this little square gray box. You click OK, open with, you click OK, and then it'll give you the report. And here's what's inside. Subawards, usually there's nothing on that report. You can take a look if you would like, but here's where all of your prime activity is. So here is where all of the recipients are that won contracts for 2017 and 18, and they are total small businesses. And here is what your report will look like. It has a lot of columns, a lot of rows, as I've explained before, but this is what it looks like before you clean it up. In our next video, I'm going to show you exactly how to clean this up very quickly. I just have you highlight some columns in yellow. Everything else gets hidden, or you can delete it. It's up to you. But I will talk to you about the columns that are important. I know it looks like a lot and it will look very scary the first time you see it, but it really can be done very quickly. Remember, this is your research that you will only have to do a couple of times, maybe even a few times. The only other time you'll do research is when you need to learn something about an agency, when you want to know if this is something you'd like to add to your portfolio. For instance, if you want to find out if an agency is buying medical equipment, all you have to do is come and run a report. Or if you want to find out which agencies are buying medical equipment, then you come and run a report based on what you've learned. So I know it looks like a lot, but it's not that bad. I can do this in less than 2 or 3 minutes, okay? And I'm going to show you how to do that in the next video. Okay, everyone, thank you for joining me today. See you in the next video. 8A Certification Federal Buyer, Step 1B. That's where I show you how to clean up your research report so that you can find the buyers, and then you can find the contracting opportunities to go ahead and start bidding. Please leave me your comments, go ahead and subscribe, and let me know your questions.